Sure, first off, I know it's live right now, but I need to check. Alright. Yep, okay, it's working. Cool. And. Alright. Once again, depending on anyone's here now, no one's here. Ooh, oh well. Uh, we. This is another podcast episode I'm doing, and today I'm doing it with my good friend Artemis. I don't know. Do you want to go by anything else, or you want me to call you Artemis the whole time?
Just Artemis. It's
Artemis.
good.
Okay.
Yes.
Eh, And today we'll be talking about, well, astrology and tarot readings and stuff like that. Because I do find that stuff kind of interesting, and the only person I know of right now, who's pretty interested in that stuff and seems passionate about it is Artemis. So
Yeah.
hope this will be enjoyable for people who come and watch it and people who will watch it later. Alright then. So for right now, let's start off with your introduction. Who are you again?
So I'm Artemis. I am 23 years old. Yes.
How do you not know your age?
I, 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 I don't know. So I keep thinking I'm 22, but no, that's not true. I'm actually 23.
Ooh.
Let's see. I'm into arts. I'm into the occult. I like learning new things about spirituality, things like that. Mostly, kind of like finding tools to find out who you are as a person. Kind of like searching for your own identity. Like that's what I'm kind of into.
Okay.
Video games, that spaz.
That jazz.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me think here. You have anything else you want to say, or you want to just go right into the questions?
Let's go right into the questions.
Okay, Miss Energetic. All right. All right. Let's start off with what got you into all of this like kind of spirituality stuff, and like
All
why?
right.
Oh,
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's like a three-part question. I should have said that first. My
Uh,
bad. What got you into all this stuff, and why do you like this, and also how long have you been into this?
into this stuff. Okay, so what got me into it is my parents, they're very religious. My dad being like the main thing. He's very Catholic. Very and he would always be like, "Oh, let's go to church every day. Let's pray and all these things." And I think he was a major part of my life about the whole there's something more to life than just materialistic things. There's something more out there. You're not just meant to live your life day by day. No, you're supposed to use your own talents for good and things like that. So I was like, okay. I got really close to my dad in that way, in those regards to um, being like this, I guess you could say, perfect daughter in his eyes, kind of
Mm-hmm.
like being into God, um, things like that, what it means to be a good person through the whole like Ten Commandments and things like that, the rules and stuff like that. So then it's like, okay, I like this. I like knowing that there's something bigger than us, and um, yeah. So then from there, I started um, I started searching up online. From I was like what 11 years old, and I started seeing things like, oh, there's this thing called astrology. Now, being a Catholic person, my dad would always be like, "Oh, you're not, this whole astrology zodiac stuff. It's not good. Like it's a sin. Like you're not supposed to be doing that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's like the devil's work or whatever." So it's like, mm, but the more you tell me I'm not meant to learn this, the more I'm gonna dive into. So when I was like 11, I started, searching my own beliefs. I've looked up, um, let's see, looked up like Wiccans or like witchcraft. You're the typical age where you're like in Tumblr and you start like seeing the aesthetics of like girls looking up like how to do spell works and all that stuff. So I was like, this is interesting. I remember getting my first Wiccan book when I went to the library, and I brought it home, and I thought it was so bad. I was like, no, I'm
Oh,
not supposed to be doing this stuff.
you
Like,
being
oh,
a
I have to hide it.
you
Yeah,
being a real
it's like
rebel today.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly. The rebel. So it's like I'm going against everything I was taught when I was, brought up. So it's like, to me, I'm trying to find out who I am and stuff like that. So not only did I like kind of have a phase of wanting to do like witchcraft, but when I started reading through the book, it said, "Oh, you need these ingredients. You need nightshade. You need like bay leaves and sage." And I'm like, I'm 11 years old. I I don't have the I guess you could say the money to buy these things. My parents are gonna come in my room and see a bunch of candles. What are they gonna think? Like, oh, she's freaking
S-
satanic or
summoning the
something.
devil or something.
Yeah, it's like no. I was like, no, no, no. But that didn't happen. So from there, um, let's see, I was what, 13, and that's when I started. Uh, I look, you're usually browsing through quizzes or whatever, and it's like, oh, what zodiac sign are you? And I'm like, this is interesting, and I look it up. And it's like, oh, your birthday, February 20. We're gonna say it, and it's like, oh, I'm a Pisces. To me, when you think of astrology or horoscopes, what's the first thought that comes into your mind when you hear astrology?
The first thing that comes to mind are the zodiac signs, like
Uh
the
huh.
one with the arrow, the one with the one that looks like an M, like
Yeah.
Capricorn, Cancer, all that stuff.
So you say that. Now, think of astrology and like someone coming up to you and talking about it. What comes into your head? Are you thinking, oh, it's fake, or it's like, oh, another person that's into astrology, or is it more, or do you ever think of like, oh, it's on those magazines that show horoscopes. It's that kind of stuff.
Hmm. In all honesty, when I meet people who bring it up to me, like not to get too far ahead in like the next couple of questions, I usually
Yeah.
think I usually am interested if it doesn't sound like crazy in a way.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like they're just like,
Okay.
"Oh, are you interested in this?" and stuff like that. Like, "Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
sure. Just if you want to explain to me, explain to me."
Yeah. So from there, and then let's see. I was like, okay, it's your typical. It's the very basics. That's the thing. You knowing you could say your sun sign, which is the day you were born. It's like, oh, this is it. That's it. That's all there is to it. It's not like there's anything more. Kind of that stuff. So that's where I was kind of stemming from. That's all I stopped at from that age. Um. Now, how long have I been into it? I would say, let's see, like 10 years.
Oh wow,
But
jeez.
the thing is, I didn't get really into the grid of things up until like uh a year ago, 2 years ago. I didn't get into it until 2 years ago. Um, why do I like this stuff? Um, it's about, how I said before, trying to find your own identity. And the thing is, there's other tools too that people use. It's not just astrology. Yes, astrology is one thing, but for example, there's these personality things like the whole INFJ, the Myers-Briggs personality thing.
Okay.
That that is based off of, I guess you could say, science. Some people would say it's pseudoscience. Like you know, again, it's all in the take on the person. However, there is correlations to it. From I've noticed that Myers-Briggs is very kind of the same as to what astrology is, because there's components to it. Say the INFJ thing being, it's someone who's intuitive, someone who's can an empath in a way and can feel people's emotions. Now that in if I was to put that into astrology terms, that kind of person is usually a water sign, usually a Pisces or a Cancer or a Scorpio, because those kind of people, they're empaths. Again, intuitives. They're people that need time to recharge. They're mostly kind of like um, the loner type, very creative in their a lot. has to do with their emotions a lot. So it's like, huh, that's quite interesting. Um, and some people take it to more of an extent, but I mostly just use it to find out things about myself that I never would have found out if I didn't have that tool, which would be astrology.
Okay, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Hmm.
Also, like you said, like you were into it 10 years, but you didn't really get fully into it until like you said 2 years ago.
Yep. Hmm.
Okay. Have you been having like fun with it and stuff?
Oh, definitely. It's funny. It's fun though because when you find someone new, I instantly want to ask, hmm, I wonder when's their birth time. I don't want to, because it's like I meet you for the first time. I immediately want to ask you, oh, I wonder when's his birthday. I immediately start kind of putting you into this little, I guess you could say, in this little box of like, these characteristics. What does it match with this or that or this? And then after I get to know you a little more and you're more comfortable, and that's when I pop the question, oh, when's your birthday? And then and they're like, huh, why? What are you gonna do? I was like, I'm just gonna look into your zodiac sign. And then they ask, well, I'm so and so. And I was like, yeah, but there's more to it. It's a lot more complex. And then that's when they start getting interested and they're like, all right, well, can you tell me more about myself? And then that's when I go off on a whole thing. And yeah, it's a lot to uncover.
Okay. Well, hopefully throughout this we can uncover more. Okay.
Yeah.
Next question. What are some of the items you have that deals with all this? Like, deals with this topic and stuff?
What do you mean by items?
Like, do you have cards? Do you have, like, posters or stuff that deals with it? Like, as, like, this, with the slideshow I have like, showing off the cards and, like, the different rocks and stuff like that.
Mm, mm. Would you say that it's an astrology wise or the tarot cards?
I say both.
For both? So for astrology, usually what I use is an app. It's called Time Passages. The thing is, Pete, there's this app that's going around called CoStar. CoStar, it's rubbish. It's BS. It's stupid. It it just touches so lightly on little things, and it's like no, there's it just people are kind of, I guess you could say, ignorant, usually due to the fact that they just look at what's on there and that's it. It's like no, you're just touching the tip of the iceberg. Time passages, you put in your time and things like that. Now there's this thing called aspects. Now aspects, and then let's see, there's it tells you your placements, say like where your planets are placed. There's this thing called houses and stuff like that, and that it tells you bit by bit what each one means. Meanwhile, a co-star, it just gives you a very brief summary. It's very simplified, and that's usually what I use for astrology or for compatibility, or like the moon phases and like what the moon is in, things like that. Now, for tarot cards, for tarot readings and stuff like that, you need to come prepared, because for a reading, you need to have sage or some dragon blood, which is some incense. Crystals, usually I have amethyst, which is, it helps with clearing out your mind, calms you down. It again, it's all in the faith. It's all in having that belief that, oh, this is gonna work. It's, I guess you could say, it's like a placebo, but in reality, to me, it's spiritual. Other people may think, oh, it's just a dumb crystal. It's not gonna do anything. But it's like, no. When you put your faith into something, to me, it comes to life. So there's amethyst, clear quartz. Amethyst is usually I use for readings where it's just a general thing. Clear quartz, say you have a problem and you need to have a clear mind for it, or a precise answer. That's what I use. Rose quartz is all about self-love, confidence, and love readings. Then there's what else is there? I'd say Jasper. I use that because I have. Oh, I wish I could show pictures, but so those three main ones, the amethyst, clear quartz, and the rose quartz, those are for readings, right? Now, going off on a tangent, there's these other crystals that I have that are for your chakras. Chakras are all about, your energies that you have throughout your body. Say, we all have a third eye chakra. The third eye chakra is all about being intuitive, trusting your gut instinct, and things like that. Your, I believe, let's see, your heart chakra, it's usually green. That's the color that it is for your heart chakra. That's all about having to be able to love others, being open to it, and things like that. So I use those. Now the sage is meant to clear out any negative energy that's in the room. You use it to clear out your cards after, because when you do a reading, you're taking on the energy of the other person. And you're asking for consent as well to tap into that person's energy so you could kind of use it through the cards. And using that sage afterwards, it clears it out. And you also sage yourself afterwards, before and after. And then, depending, you need to have, I personally like having multiple decks, because that way the person can have a bit more of an options to have, and they could be like, this deck, I relate to it, not relate to it, but it catches my eye. And it's more personal than if I was to just use one for everything. And say I also have like mostly my, I guess you could say, clients, because they always do come back. They ask for love readings. So the crystal that I'm using the most is the rose quartz, as well as like my romance oracle cards, which also help immensely when I do that kind of stuff. So I would say for tools, most of the crystals I just mentioned: sage, some dragon blood incense, and my tarot cards.
Excuse me, did you just say dragon blood incense?
Yeah, dragon blood incense.
What? What is that? What does that smell like?
Yeah. No.
What is it?
You think it's a liquid? It's not. It's usually just like a stick. It's like those incense sticks. It's just like a red, like red powder around the stick, and it doesn't smell bad. It's pretty clean. I guess a clean smell to it. It's not too overpowering. It's there.
Okay.
But yeah, that's usually what I use.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just like, I'm caught off guard by the dragon blood part.
Dragon blood. Wow, that's so witchy. What is this? What is she using?
Oh, I'm not thinking like that. I'm just thinking like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, how did they come up with the name and like the idea for the smell? It's like,
yeah, I believe that, because I think there's another one. There's another incense or something like that. It's called like frogworts or something like that, and it's very weird name. And then people are like, what? And I'm just like, I don't think of getting that. It doesn't sound like it's gonna smell good.
oh, probably not frogworts. You said?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably gonna smell like ass.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. All right. Next question for you, artist. Let me see. Could you give a brief summary on like what tarot cards are exactly, and also if you have a brief summary for like the zodiac signs and stuff like that? Because most of my knowledge comes from, in all honesty, people I've met like you, or playing games like Persona, or, and I know this might upset some people if some people know what I'm about to say, Homestuck for the signs.
Yep. Yeah. No, see, the whole Homestuck thing, I'll admit, it did also kind of play a role of my, kind of diving back into it, because I met this friend in high school. She was into Homestuck, and one day I came over to her house and she was like, hey Artemis, do you know what Homestuck is? I was like, no. She's like, let me show you.
Oh.
And she showed me that typical video. It's the, I don't know if you probably have seen it, and it's like it's like a song, and they tell you what Homestuck is and stuff like that. Yeah, and I was like, this sounds pretty interesting. She's like, oh yes, it is. And I'm like, let me get into this. And it's like when you meet the trolls, it's like they have their zodiac signs on them. So I was like, what is it? Thefri is a Pisces. Let me see. Oh, Eridan's an Aquarius. I wonder why. And it's like, I looked into their personalities attached to their sign. I was like, this makes a lot of sense. Again, though, that was just my basis. Again, it was going back into the I guess you could say introductory of astrology, the zodiac signs. It's like, all right. So then, going back to astrology, to the tarot cards.
Just a quick thing, real quick, Artist.
Yeah.
I do apologize for all the people who don't like Homestuck, but it was you. If you know astrology or any of that, you know it's going to be brought up. Don't be mad.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
you know for a fact. And don't get mad, or I will make a Homestuck podcast. I swear to God.
Like, oh, he's talking about Homestuck. All right, time to leave. Let's go. Stream over. Wait, so what was I going back to? Tarot cards, what they are. So, tarot cards, it was actually meant, back then, it was actually meant as a game that people would play. It was never used for divination or anything like that. And then, later on, yes, I haven't really like researched the whole thing about it. All I remember is that they started using it for divination. They started using it as like, those little gypsies that you see out back then, and they'd be like, oh, let me read your fortune and things like that. So they would do that. The thing is, when it comes to tarot cards, you need to be careful in who you give a reading to, and you yourself have the mental capacity to know when it's time to stop, to know when it's time to stop asking those questions, and protect yourself, because when you do readings, you are inviting entities to kind of talk through the cards. That's what I believe. And, I've seen other readers as well. They protect themselves. Usually there's people that ask deities or deities, I don't know how to say it, and for help, for guidance, and things like that. But what I do is that I use my own energy as well as the other person's to use the cards and to kind of show me how are they feeling, or to ask what advice do they need to hear, kind of thing. And so so there's these things called the major arcana and the minor arcana. The major ones play a huge role in a reading because it's basically screaming at you to focus on this kind of situation, more emphasis, more urgency to what you're asking. And I'm sure in Persona, or as well as like isn't it in JoJo as well, that they use the tarot cards or whatever, like the names of it. There's the Empress, there's the Tower card, there's also the Fool, the Magician. Let's see, what else is there? Sorry, I'm like going through them. I have my cards out. Judgment. Let's see. The Emperor, the Empress, the Sun, Death card. Now, when you think of the Death card, what comes into your mind again?
I would go with Doom.
Say that again?
I would go with Doom, not like death or anything. Like death, exactly death, but like Doom, like bad things are about to come.
Yeah, now, the Death card in reality is not a bad thing. The Death card is meant to bring you, yes, it's painful, but you're meant to go through it, a transformation, shedding the old and coming out as a brand new person. It's something that is inevitable and you must go through it. Now there's the cards that usually people don't like when they see in a card reading is also not only death, but the Tower. The Tower card shows two people falling out of a building, out of a tower, and there's lightning striking the building and they're falling out. They're falling down. The whole basis of this is that you're meant to go through this tower moment to realize that it needs to happen. Again, with like the death card, it's a painful moment, but at the end of it, this foundation that you created with the person or yourself needed to be crumbled down so it could be rebuilt up again, and you're coming out stronger from that. Usually my favorite cards, I'd say, from the tarot deck, it's the Tower, the Death card, and let's see. Let's look through them one more time. I'd say the Fool. Now the Fool, I like that card because it's meant for you to take that leap of faith. It's meant for you to start brand new again. And I don't know if you're noticing this, but I tend to pick cards that have to deal with having to go through a painful situation and coming out brand new. The Phoenix, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Because to me, having to go through a painful process, it's meant to be as a blessing in disguise. Without it, you wouldn't be the person you are now. And it takes a lot of self-reflection to come to that point.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense when I think about it when it comes to like the Persona games, because of the fact the main character, like usually the main character is the Fool card, and usually it is about the main character going to a new town or something and going through a new change in process.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what the Fool means. And you're right, spot on. And I like the fact that games use that. They leave these little, you know, what would be seen as, oh, it's just a game, when in reality, they're taking parts of something that's actually real and that people use, and they bring it into that. And then people are like, oh, this is so interesting. And it's, I don't know, I just find it really amazing.
It's all good.
Yes.
Alright, you got anything about the zodiac signs?
Now, for the zodiac signs, a brief summary for that. Let's see. When it comes to your birth chart, you know, you think, oh, I'm a Pisces. Oh, I'm a Cancer. It's like, no, bucko. There's a lot going on here. So, when we talk about natal charts, I'm looking into, or people are looking into, not just your sun sign, which is what you consider yourself as just briefly, but there's this thing called, your moon sign. Moon sign is all about your emotions, how you deal with emotions, what you reciprocate, how you express yourself. Then there's your rising sign, which has to do with how the world sees you, this mask that you put on. The sun, which would, I guess you could say, what you consider yourself as at first, is your ego, your basic ego. Going more into it, there's Mercury, which has to do with your communication skills. And let's see, there's Venus, which has to do with love, relationships, your creativity. There's Saturn, which is your restriction, something where you have to really work on in parts of your life. There's Chiron. Usually people don't talk about it, but Chiron is all about that wounded healer, the parts of you that you don't really want to face. It's kind of like your shadow self, and once you come to the point where you realize, oh wow, these are actual things I need to work on. And it's those very troubling traumas that you have that you kind of shove down. But when you actually work on them, you'll be able to help those around you that have those same things and become more enlightened, more wise, you could say.
Okay.
Yeah. Houses. Now houses, um, those are a huge thing. That's where knowing your exact time comes into place. Because without it, you wouldn't really know where your planets lie on your houses. For example, the first house has to do with your appearance, yourself. Um, the second house has to do with money, sense of values, earned income, possessions. Third house has to do with communication, talking, writing. Your fourth house has to do with your home, your roots, family, and traditions. The fifth house has to do with self-expression, children, love affairs, hobbies, and stuff like that. Usually, when people come to me to read their chart, typical thing to ask about is your love life. So what I look into is your seventh house, which has to do with partnerships, legal contracts. Legal contracts. You could look at someone's natal chart and you could actually tell if they're going to be having problems with divorce or marriage, if their marriage either is going to come in early in life or later in life. I personally looked into my own chart. I looked at my seventh house. I have Saturn, and what I said about Saturn is that it restricts things for you. It makes you work for it. What is it making me work for? It's making me work for my partnerships, the people that I'm interested in. There's going to be trouble there regardless because of that. Now, it being Saturn in Aries, my seventh house is in Aries. And so Aries has to do with impulses, has to do with rushing things. Aries is very fiery, so it just goes out on a whim. But Saturn is there, so it kind of tones it down, kind of making me take things more seriously instead of rushing into things. So when it comes to marriage, I'm not going to be getting into relationships or whatever until when I'm much older, because I won't know what it means to be in an actual relationship or the maturity it takes, the work it takes to be in one until I'm like in like mid 20s or 30s. And and it's funny because I didn't get into a relationship until I was 20 21. My first actual relationship was at 21. I didn't get to experience um like intimacy until I was 21. I always thought like, oh, I'm going to do it when I'm older. My beliefs as well, bringing my beliefs like, oh, if I go into a relationship, I want it to be towards marriage. I never I never thought of dating when I was younger. I always thought of it's something older. And again, that Saturn being there in the seventh house, it's like my relationships, they're gonna be, I want it to be long term. I can't do casual things. I can't go into like one night stands or whatever. No, I want it to lead to something. Um Now, an interesting house to look into would be your eighth house, which has to do with um your shadow side, the sides of you that need to be worked on. And I like looking into that because I'm the kind of person, again, that likes knowing people's, I guess you could say, weaknesses and putting emphasis on that and helping them get through it. And when I mention these things about them, when I read it, and they're like, wow, like, I didn't think of that of myself. And then they're like, oh, well, how can I work on it? And it's like, oh, well, you could do this, this, and this kind of thing. Oh, but there's so much more to it. And that's going to probably take like hours to explain. But that's what I could tell you for now.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask you. I was gonna ask if you know what house I could be in. Maybe I'm not sure.
Oh, of course. No, yeah, we could do that right now. Actually, we could
Oh,
look into your stuff and give you a little mini natal chart reading. That should be pretty fun to
yeah. I know
do.
you do remember what mine is, right? Or do I have to?
I believe so. Let me see. If not, you could just send me your info again. Let's see.
I mean, all I know is that's not my Capricorn, so.
Yeah, I remember it was December 29, right?
No, it's the last day.
The 31st.
Yep, last day of the year. We're all done.
Let's go. What year was it?
94.
94. Oh, I would need your birth city and your local time.
Oh.
And your social security number and credit card number.
I don't know.
Yeah, what was the time that you were born?
Uh, I don't. If I had to guess, I remember being told 10:30, maybe. Maybe.
Okay, we could work with that. What's the birth city?
I'll send you that one. That would give you
Yeah.
one.
Don't want people knowing where you live.
Give me one moment, folks. Sorry, apologize. Oh, where is it? Oh, here it is. I had to try to look up where Discord was again.
Yeah.
Oh my god, why is it so slow? It's like legitimately low.
Streaming.
I'm having I'm using my
Technical
phone.
difficulties, guys. No worries. We're good.
I'm just using my phone though, man.
Got it. All right. So let's see. Ooh, okay. This is interesting. I remember now. So, let's see. So I said, well, is there something that you would like to know more about, or do you want me to give you a rundown of what your chart is mainly about, or mostly?
Mostly on.
Okay. So, what I can see right off the bat is you have what's called a stellium in Capricorn. Capricorn they're very reserved, very timid at first. They don't really let in people easily. However, when people approach you, they could talk to you about anything. They really kind of value your opinion. However, as normal as everyone else, it just depends on them if they want to take it or not. But you yourself view your word as something very, I guess you could say sacred, very important to you. When someone asks you their opinion, you give it your all. You directly give it to them. And if they were to push your buttons, you're like, nope, I'm gonna stand my ground. This is my opinion. You ask for my advice, and you either take it or leave it, kind of thing. You come off you could say you kind of have a hard exterior, but if people actually do try to get to know you, you're very mushy, you're soft, and you actually have a lot of emotions to give. However, your moon being in Capricorn, for people to get close to your emotions, it's very hard, it's difficult. You put up these walls, and you want people to actually put in the effort. It's like, are you actually going to be in this or not? And if you are, I'm kind of going to put you through these tests until you actually kind of pass it. Let's see. Your Venus is in Scorpio, which comes off as you're into things that usually other people wouldn't. Say you're kind of the type of person you're into, it's usually something where others kind of disapprove, or they kind of look down upon it. You're I guess you could say, they're put off. They're just like, what kind of thing. Venus in Scorpio also, it's a very painful Venus to have it in, because you're going to have relationships where it's going to take you time to get to the one that you're after. It usually also leads to let's see. Um let's see. It's just mostly a lot of pain. There's not it's not a it's good, but it's not. And it
Yeah.
being in your third house, let's see. Let me look at it. What was it again? Your third house has to do with ah, you'll find love in when it's gonna be foreign. It's not gonna be close to you at home. Um, Usually you're most likely to meet your the person you're into with either through friends. Um, let's see. Yeah, through your friends. You're most likely to meet them through your friends instead of most likely like, oh, look at her, she's pretty, let me go talk to her kind of thing. Let's see.
I'm gonna be honest. I've known you and some other people a long time now, a couple of months now.
Yeah.
That scares me a little bit.
What scares you?
I'm like, who am I gonna meet through you guys? That like,
Yeah. Um, let's see. Uh, what else is there? Your 10th house. So 10th house has to do with careers, has to do with what you'd be kind of best at in a career. And I believe you have it in Gemini. Huh, funny, because I also have that too. Being 10th house in Gemini, it's all about communications, social status, has to do with being a personality. And it says here, these people are able to present their ideas clearly and they like to communicate with others. Um, Usually, career of these people is related to entertainment, games, or theater. There is a possibility of creative activity in their profession. These people love their job and they often have authority in this area. So, it's funny because you're doing this kind of stuff. You're interested in expressing your ideas outwards and onto people. You want to voice your opinion, have it kind of a platform or media to do it through. You are most likely to excel in that. Say you were to continue doing this whole like podcast or um, being this entertainer, you're most likely to succeed in it. It's what you're good at, and you are pursuing it. Let's see. Um, let's see what else is there. Hmm. Oh, you have Mercury in the fifth house. Mercury, again, communication. Fifth house has to do with fun and games, has to do with how you go about having fun. So it says here Mercury in the fifth house represents a connection with the house of creativity and children. This position usually means artistic and creative talents and good ability to express thoughts orally. These people have the ability to express themselves dramatically and powerfully, and they are talented teachers and actors. They are mentally competitive and require mental activity. Mercury in the fifth house also indicates business activities and investments. People with Mercury in Capricorn stop being so carefree. They are thorough and precise. The influence of Earth awakens contemplation and the need to provide evidence of findings and opinions. So, say you and I were to be in a debate, you wouldn't settle with me just saying, "Oh, this is what I think about it." You're going to be like, "Yeah, well, why? Give me the evidence. Show me, back it up in a way." When people with Mercury and Capricorn do something, they must have a plan and a goal. Their mind needs something to focus on. They are methodical and they are usually good managers and successful traders. However, they tend to stagnate in one part of thinking, which can lead to mental or professional stagnation. So for you, when it comes to thinking things or talking about it, you need to be kind of busy, or else you're going to go crazy. You need to have something that you need to be working on. You can't be too much in your thoughts, or else you're gonna start having like you don't have your life together in a way. Um, let's see.
I kind of forget how sometimes when you do these go close to home.
Really? And it's funny, it's astrology. You think what astrology is just you're a Pisces, you're a Cancer or whatever. It's like no, there's more to it, and it touches on parts of you that you wouldn't really acknowledge unless you saw it on paper or Um, let's see. Saturn in Pisces. Saturn again, when I said it restricts restriction, order, maturity. Um, it says here Saturn is our strict teacher who is able to ruthlessly examine our maturity. However, it is not only the despot but also the archetype of the sage who uses pain as a means to get our attention on what we should focus on and on what we should continue to develop. Meaning, um, it's for example, how I said about my Saturn being in Aries. When it comes to me being Aries, again, anger, I guess you could say, I could use it as saying, I don't handle anger very well because as I was brought up, I was told, oh, being angry is bad for you. You shouldn't be angry. So it's like, oh, like, it's so hard for me to control that because I just want to lash out. I want to destroy things, and it's like, nope, nope, you can't do that. Breathe, because if I was to lash out, there's no stopping what I would do. As crazy as that sounds, but it's true. And when I read that about myself, I'm like, huh, what the heck? Why is it that a planet and all this stuff is telling me of all these things about myself? So, um, according to you, you have it in Pisces. Now it says here, people with Saturn in Pisces have to strike a balance between the need to ignore the demands of their own life and the need to take care of other people's problems. In order to find the golden middle way between these extremes, sooner or later they will have to find a way to call the wisdom within themselves. They should discover their inborn ability to help others and at the same time solve their own problems. They must go to the depths in order to discover the lost wisdom and insight. It combines an ideal and strength. These people are predestined for life in seclusion and for philosophy, scientific research, and loneliness. Saturn in the sixth house refers to employment and health. It indicates reliable and hardworking people. Even if their work is boring, they have an ability to concentrate on details. They are able to do such work for long periods of time. They take their responsibilities very seriously, and they often carry a heavy burden. They must avoid overworking and unnecessary worries. So I would say, like, you've told me, right, how people always come to you for problems, right? And do you ever find yourself giving too much of yourself? And when it comes to you, you're just like, no, like, you kind of push what you need to work on away.
In all honesty, I'm not really sure. I've never really thought about that.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, sometimes maybe, but I have to really think about that.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. What else is there? Ah, so Pluto and Scorpio, this is more of a generation kind of thing. Um, Usually from, I believe, the years 1990 or a little earlier to like 1995 or so. Pluto was in Scorpio. Um, Usually Pluto has to do with death and rebirth. It is the end of all things. It can rise to obsessions or convictions. Let's see, what else is there? People with Pluto and Scorpio have a passionate desire for mystery. They like to intrigue, and they have a great disposition for personal transformation that can especially happen through their desires. They radiate occult powers. Pluto in the third house suggests the possibility of interruptions in education, family relationships, or other events in the childhood of these people. Pluto creates deep thinkers and allows them to understand the deeper meaning that can remain hidden when dealing with others. These people have strong but often controversial opinions, which they will either express freely or keep silent about them. They are probably interested in complicated and profound issues that they will be studying with great interest. And when you and I were like spending time together, I noticed that you're very into the psychological aspect of people. You really like to get to know into these little nooks and crannies of, well, like the whole serial killer stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's very interesting. And to you, usually just talking about it kind of make you like, should I talk about serial killers with this person, or is it going to kind of put them off?
I mean, I never really think about it unless they bring it up. Because it's just like, it'll feel really random being like, hey.
Yeah,
hey,
right?
You want to talk about serial killers real quick? You hear about this one dude right here? You heard of, like, oh god, I'm about to forget his name. No. Ted, not Ted. No, Bundy. I'll just go with Bundy. I don't know his last name.
But you have so much knowledge about that, don't you?
Somewhat.
About these whole... Yeah. So it's like, it's just... I don't know. I like the Pluto in Scorpio mostly because they're very into the dark themes of life. They, maybe because they've also gone through situations where, it's hard to talk about, and what I like doing is diving into that. Let me know. Kind of open yourself up. Come on. I know there's something in there. Let me see your skeletons. Come on. Like, talk about them. But it's kind of hard to make that person open up because of that. But when they do, it's liberating for them when they have this in their chart.
Real quick. Thank you, Koala. It was Ted Bundy. Okay, it was. All right. I was correct.
Yeah.
But,
yes.
Okay. Alright. I was gonna say something about that. Oh, I can say when you came to about the whole, shit, give me what? The shyness, like, kind of, I'm more to myself. Yeah, it's kind of true about me. Like, I do take a while to open up to people. Like, I'm not sure if I should tell you about myself, or, like, everything I'm actually into. Because sometimes people get a little judgmental, especially when you're in middle school or high school. That's like, oof. You're like, oh, I'm in the superhero and comics. Oh, you big nerd. Throw you in the garbage.
Yeah.
You're like, what? I didn't actually get thrown in the garbage. None of that actually happened.
Oh.
They get made fun of though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question for you. And this one would be fun. When you tell someone that you are into this, like you're into the tarot reading, the zodiac signs, all the spiritual stuff, all the astrology, what are some of the responses you get?
Yes. The responses I get, or I just get memes thrown at me, left and right. Memes, making fun of it.
Fucking Homestucker.
Yeah. It's like, God damn, Maria. It's like, I'm sorry. Well, it's like, I shouldn't be sorry about what I believe in and that kind of stuff. It makes me, kind of how you said how, oh, he likes comics and stuff. Oh, what a nerd. And they just throw you to the side. I start thinking, because I've been told, oh, why do you believe in that stuff? That stuff's fake. Or, oh, that's not science, that's not logical. And they start questioning everything. And I don't blame them. You should question everything. And it usually comes down to them saying it's trash. Or I get told, oh, it's trash. It's nothing. Why do you believe in that? Always making me question it. And it's just like, but this is what I'm passionate about. I believe in this stuff. And they're like, oh, why do you believe in something that you can't see? It's all about faith. And it's, people go about their days thinking logically. But what about, don't you ever wonder what there is after life? Don't you wonder, what if there is an afterlife? What if you actually do have a purpose to use your own talents for good, and you just spent them wasted doing things you didn't like doing? Um, with my tarot cards, when I do readings, people are so um they have a misconception about it. They're like, "Oh, well, you knew this about me already, so you just use the cards to emphasize it." And it's like, "No, I I'm not it's not like I'm pulling the cards, the ones that I want to do the reading on you. I'm literally shuffling them until a card pops out. They jump at you, Capsule. These cards jump at you. I'm not literally picking them out. No, they jump at you and they give a message, they give a story. So when I give you the reading, I can't say it's, at the end of the day, it's not me. I'm not telling you these things. There's something more. As creepy as it sounds, no one wants to think that there's something that we can't see, that there's another world that we can't see, and it scares the shit out of people. Oh, there's people don't believe in so there's some people that don't believe in the paranormal because, oh, it's because of the wind, it's because of that, and stuff like that. But it's like, no. What if it does happen to you? How are you going to explain it? Oh, you're a non-believer and it happens to you, and you tell someone else who is also a non-believer, and you're just like, "Oh, I swear it happened." It's like, no, it didn't. You want people to believe in something that can't be seen. You need to have that faith in, like, I wish people were more open-minded about things like this, because it opens so many more doors. It helps you identify yourself. Identity to me is such a huge thing as well, because I've gone all my life trying to find out who I am as a person. Trying to kind of I guess you could say, putting a label on myself so I know who I am, what I am. And people are like, "Oh, chakras, oh, Reiki, oh, astrology, oh, tarot cards, that's gibberish, that's non-existent." But yet, look how many people benefit from it. How many people actually, again, uncover parts in themselves that they never would have figured out before. And it is life-changing. And you start thinking like, huh, maybe there is something more. I've met people were like, they didn't believe in tarot card readings, but once I gave them one, they're like, "Holy shit." And it's like, it's things I never knew about them, situations where I didn't know nothing about. And it's crazy, it's scary. It's just like, what? And usually when I tell them, "Oh yeah, I'm into astrology," and they're like, "Oh, you're into the whole the magazine things, like the things they read in the back of the magazines that are so general that anyone could read it and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's what's happening to me." No, that's social media. That's the media. That's just generalizations. They're not going in depth. And when I tell them there's more to it than that, and I kind of enlighten them on the topic, they're like, "Wow, there's more to it than just that." And I was like, yes, there is. And then they kind of start giving me, like, the, how do you say it?
I don't know, man. You're the one that thought of it, man.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of the word. What is it? What's the word? God damn it. I don't know. I forgot the word. Just the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, they give me the benefit of the doubt of what I believe in. So it's like, at the end of the day, again, it's my belief. Nothing's gonna change it. I don't want to leave that behind. It's who I am. It's how I go about um knowing the other person. Some people see it as a cheat sheet because it's like, oh, or some people use it for manipulation or and stuff like that. So usually the responses I get are, no, that's not real. It's like, but come on, look at this, and this. And they're like, oh, okay.
Okay. All right. I do have one story, but I think maybe I'll say that for like a paranormal thing. If you want to ever do that.
Got it.
But
Yeah.
what are some? Wait, yeah. What are some misconceptions people have on this topic? I know you just kind of went into it, but do you have any other ones that you might know of?
Um. Uh. Any misconceptions? Let's see. Uh. Actually, no. I think what I touched on was basically what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here comes the fun one. Have you? And this one is like with this one you can
Yes.
actually give if you want to. You can give names or you can change names, whichever you want to do.
I'll keep the names. Not like you guys are gonna know the person.
Have you seen or met people who take this kind of stuff too seriously? Like people, like I've met
Yes.
people who are like, "Oh, you're such a Pisces." Like I'm like, "What?"
Oof. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. These kind of people are the people that ruin astrology. These are the kind of people that the memes are about, basically.
Like the people who actually make it their personality.
Yes, and it's like, no, stop. You're cringe. Stop. Like, get out of here. No, stop. And um, I've my, for example, my ex. My ex was the one who kind of um made me go into astrology to the depth where it is now. And I'm learning so much more, even to this day. But he was the one that kind of told me, hey, when's your birthday? And I was like, oh, it's this. Oh, he's just going to look at me and say I'm a Pisces. But no, he was the one that went in depth into it. And I was like, holy crap. Now, here's the downside of it. Say there was, a miscommunication between us, or he was doing something he wasn't supposed to. He'd be like, he's like, oh, it's because my Venus is in Gemini, or it's because I'm a Cancer, or it's because the moon's in this. And I'm like, are you serious right now? You're literally using astrology as an excuse to behave the way you are. No, that's not how this works. Astrology is meant to be used as a tool to help you to help you see which parts of yourself you want to work on, what to kind of emphasize on. But no, you're using this to your own benefit, for your own shitty behavior. There's also I'd say, yeah, like you said, there's people that'd be like, oh, say you do something like, oh my god, that's such an Aries thing. Oh my god, that's such a Leo thing to say. That's annoying. It becomes so annoying. It's like, shut up already. When it comes to tarot cards, yes, there is people that take it too seriously. Why do I say this? Because I have a friend, well, ex-friend. Her name was Amber. Now she'd come to me and she'd say, Maria, or whatever, I said my name, Maria, can you do a reading on me? I'm like, sure. And I do the reading for her. Next thing you know, 5 minutes later, oh, can you do the reading again? Let's see if he changed his mind. And I'm like, what? But I just told you what an outcome would be. She's like, no, come on. And she's like, I was like, oh my god, are you serious? And I'd give her the answer. 5 days later, can you give me a weekly reading? Can you give me a monthly reading? And I'm like, what is up with this girl? There is this thing I do. I don't do health related questions because I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you, oh yeah, you have cancer. No, I don't do that kind of stuff. And she'd ask me, oh, how's my appointment? What news am I going to receive from my appointment? As in, like, are they going to tell me, like, health related stuff? And I'm like, no, I don't feel comfortable. And she'd be like, oh, come on. And then it came to a point where she started getting she wanted to get into tarot card readings. In my head, this is a major red flag, because her mentality of tarot card readings was very immature. You need to have a good level head when you do readings, because the things you see or the messages that come through when you do tarot card readings, they can be pretty tough stuff. And I feel like when she would always ask about love readings, I knew that if she was to get some cards, she'd always be asking, always on that edge, at the edge of her seat, wanting that answer that she seeks so much. She's the kind of person that gets anxiety because of what I would tell her, and she'd want to know consistently. And it's troubling, because when you start feeling that anxiety when you get a reading done, or when you start doing that kind of stuff, you're not going to know anymore your own choices. You're not going to make your own choices anymore. You're relying on cards to do it for you. And that's not what you're meant to be doing. And I would say those are two major examples of people taking it too seriously, and in the way that it's not meant to be used.
Okay. I would say,
yeah,
like, from like the experience I've had with people, like, it is just like that. They do take it so seriously. Like, they think it's like 100% always correct.
Mm-hmm.
Also, does that go into the whole idea of like people who take that stuff too seriously, who use it for actual medical stuff? That's like,
yes.
No, actually, take the person to the hospital, please. No.
Yeah, exactly. And I've done my research on people, like the other people that do tarot card readings. They don't do health related questions, and it's for a reason. They're not doctors. They're not there for that kind of stuff. Yeah, someone can tell you if you're gonna end up pregnant or not, but when it comes to
well,
like
even
medical
then,
stuff, yeah, even then, it's a 50-50 chance regardless. Again, it has to do, say I give you a reading and it says, oh, you're gonna find love. And then it's like, oh, but I didn't find love. There's paths you could take to that. If I tell you you're not gonna find love, you're gonna go be like, oh, fuck it, whatever then. I'm not gonna find love, then whatever. It's like, no, you could change that outcome. You have your own choices to go to where you want to. Energy changes, it's not consistent. It's not constant. One day it could be, oh yeah, you're gonna find love because of the energy that you put out into the universe. If it's negative, you're gonna receive negative. If it's positive, you're gonna get positive. It's all in how you carry yourself onto things. And if I was to tell you, like how I just said, you're not gonna find love, you could sit there and be, all right, I'm just not gonna, try anymore. Or go the other route, work on yourself, give yourself self-love, and you'll find it. There it is.
okay.
So, yeah.
Any other ones? Any other crazy ones you might have seen or like heard about?
No, I think those are just two of the biggest ones.
Okay, because I was like, I wanted to say like it's a group of people. I'm not sure if there's a term for it or like people who take
Say
that
that
stuff.
again?
I wanted to like say if there was a term for it, like the people who do take that kind of stuff too seriously.
No, I don't think there is a term. They're crazy.
I mean, yeah, it's just like I said, it just
Yeah.
I do get cringe when I hear someone say that's such a Capricorn thing, or
Yes.
or like back in the day with Tumblr, where people would
Yep.
be like, oh, what was that? I'm trying to think of like they still do it somewhat, even though it's like a mostly dead site now, where they kind
They
of
actually have a term for it?
huh?
They actually have a term for it?
Not term like on Tumblr.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to remember like some of the really crazy posts, like the ones where they pretty much like make a role playing game out of it and say, "Oh, this person says like Capricorns are always like this. They always say this," and I'm like, "What? What is this? What are you talking about?"
Stereotyping.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of those.
like Tumblr's just full of those.
Tumblr's a no-go, guys. Don't go there.
Never go to Tumblr. They got rid of our. They got rid of our. They got rid of our porn. Don't go to Tumblr.
Exactly.
But all right. Next one for you. Have you had any ratings or signs that came true in some way, or at the very least was close to what is actually happening to you at that moment?
Well, Capsule, I think this question can be put on to you as well. Since I gave you a reading, you should talk about that experience firsthand.
Wait, what?
Remember when I gave you a reading
Hmm.
and it came true? Can you talk about that experience of how it was for you?
I'm trying to. Either one just now or one a long time ago. I'm trying to think. Like, give it a minute.
I think it was a long time ago.
I'm trying to think.
Is it you were creeped out by it?
Oh, I think it was the one about me, like, oh, I know what you're talking about. It was the one where
Yeah.
you kind of mentioned that I'm in, like, a stagnant right now, that I was getting my shit together, but all of a sudden something happened to kind of put everything on pause.
Yeah.
And I remember it, and I was like, oh, that kind of, like, it was one of those moments where, yeah, you could say, like, oh, that makes sense because of what's going on right now, but at the same time, it was still kind of weird to me. Like, I haven't really talked about that with you, so that's kind of,
Yeah.
because it was like, oh, I was finally going to do my license, get all my shit together. All of a sudden, oh, COVID-19, oh, here it comes. 2020 is already shit enough.
Exactly.
Life, we were on pause now.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, like, stuff like that. Yeah, I remember that one. Because, okay, listen, folks, like, she's done at least 2 for me, I think, in the past. And they were pretty accurate, even, and especially the ones where it's like, especially when she didn't know me that well at the time. And I would say, like, this is why I kind of like this stuff, is when you meet people like this who, even if they don't know you, it does get a little weird how close it can get, and it really starts getting interesting.
Yep. I do have examples of where it's gotten very creepy, actually. The first time I ever did a reading was on my cousin. And she was talking about, her past relationships. She didn't tell me the reason of why they broke up. She's had 5 relationships in the past. She's like, can you tell me like what happened? And I was like, sure. 5 different guys, right? The same card came out every time, which was the 5 of Pentacles. 5 of Pentacles has 2 people out in the dark, out in the night, and it's snowing and it's cold, and they leave. And I told her, they left you in the dark. They left without even telling you. They just straight up ghosted you. This card came out 5 times. She's like, what the hell? That's exactly what happened. Each one of them just ghosted me and they left me. And I was like, what the heck? And again, I was just shuffling. I wasn't picking out the card. That card would jump out. And I was like, whoa, what the heck? This is kind of creepy. And then there was this one time where I did a reading for a friend, and I didn't know them. Again, I didn't know them that well whatsoever. I didn't know their personal stuff. The cards that come out, I remember it so clearly. The Death card. The King of Wands reversed, which is a guy, which is a man. And it's upside down. When cards are upside down, that's usually a bad thing. And then there was the 6 of Cups. It shows 2 kids on the card. 6 of Cups is all about friendships, is about people from your past, things like that. There was more to it. like the Ace of Cups, which is about being very emotional, emotions going crazy. And I was feeling like chest pain, and I asked him, I was like, "Is there someone that passed away in your family, or someone close to you?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I actually lost a friend, a very close friend of mine, not too long ago." And I said, "Is there someone else, probably someone older, close to you?" He's like, "Yeah, my grandpa actually passed away too." And I was like, "Oh, my chest is hurting." And he's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, my chest is hurting." And I was like, "Did he die from like a stroke or something?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "What the heck?" He's like, "Yeah, he actually died from that." I was like, interesting, because again, King of Wands is it's signed to that. It's Leo. Leo rules the heart. And the fact that it's upside down underneath the death card, it's like, what a coincidence. It's so weird how that comes up in the reading. And I just asked the cards, "How are you feeling?" Or, what's going on, a general reading basically. And that's what came up. It's like, what the heck? What's going on here? So he was really creeped out by it. He was like, "Whoa, that's so accurate," and things like that. And then I remember I did another reading on a friend. I said, "Hey, I'm practicing. Do you wanna can I do a reading on you?" He's like, "Sure, why not?" And again, like a general reading on what's going on with him, how is he feeling. I pulled the cards out. Death card comes up again, and it shows the Two of Cups, which is a partnership, a couple. It showed Judgment, which has to do with no, the Justice card came out, which has to do with legal contracts, which has to do with a balance or a choice that has to be made because of legal stuff, and the Ace of Swords, which is a truth that must come out. And I asked, "Did someone pass away in your family?" He said, "Yes, my cousin was in a car accident." I was like, "Makes sense, because it shows right here that someone passed away in your family. They're going through a grieving period because, again, the Ace of Cups shows up, the Judgment card, which has to do with being kind of reborn in a way, but it shows people that are dead and they're, going up into the heavens kind of thing. And I said, I asked, "How are your parents? How's your relationship like?" He's like, "Oh, it's not really good." And I was like, I was like, "Is there any legal stuff that's going on between them or something?" He's like, "They're actually thinking of getting a divorce." And I said, "Oh, there it is. Justice card being explained by the Two of Cups, which has to do with the partnership dealing with legal papers, legal matters." And he said how they're thinking of getting a divorce when his sister's older, them having to come out and telling them that, which is the Ace of Swords, the truth coming out, having to explain it to their family, and things like that. Keep in mind again, I didn't know his family issues. I didn't know none of that stuff. So, again, pretty scary. Um, what else is there? I've done a reading on someone that I was interested in, and at that time, and I I he's like, "Oh, do a reading on me," and I was like, "Sure." I was like, "Is it again? Can I do see if on your feelings and stuff?" He's like, "Sure." I was like, "All right." This person's reading literally was about love. The Lovers card came out, which is about, as clear as day as it sounds, the lovers, love. Ten of Cups, it's a happy family. The King of Cups, which has to do with feeling very strong emotions towards someone. Um, the Queen of Wands, which has to do with someone who's very, someone they're really interested in, the attractive woman, someone that, really piques their interest. and the Ace of Wands, very passionate feelings, chemistry going on. And I told them, and they just said, they're like, okay, you can stop now. Like, this is kind of weird. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, it's very accurate. I was like, all right. um, Recently though, there was another love reading I did on my ex-friend's coworker. And I didn't know nothing about this person. And as well, she's just like, oh, because Amber, she told her coworker, oh, I have this friend. She does readings, anything you want to know, whatever comes up, it's very accurate. And she's like, sure. I did the reading, and the thing is, it's not like she was in person either. All of these are not in person. They're all online. I'm not there with you. I only ask for consent for me to tap into you. Whatever comes up with the cards comes up. And she's like, okay. She gave consent, whatever. I did the reading, and I told her, you're having problems with this person. Someone's very defensive. They don't want to give up on the relationship or the connection that's going on. This is someone that you're having a problem with, is a lot older than you, wiser, an authoritative figure in your life. And it's like, a lot of things have been going on, but at the end of the day, you still want to be in this committed relationship. Lo and behold, she tells me that's exactly what's going on in her life at that moment. And yeah, those are some of the things that's been going on. Everyone tells me, like, how do you do this? How is it that you're able to know? It's like, I don't. This is what comes up. Do the cards have a mind of their own? Who knows? Is something maybe going into these cards that's not me and helping me out? Who knows? But I just know that I have to sage afterwards, so that anything that's in this room, any energy that was locked into those cards, needs to be cleansed out, so none of that sketchy stuff starts happening.
Okay. I do have one
Yeah.
question when you were talking about, like, all the different stories. Why is it bad if they're upside down?
Because depending on the rest of the cards that are around it, when a card's reversed, there's different connotations to it. For example, let's say, the Three of Cups. Three of Cups are three people drinking, right? They're holding cups up, and when it's upwards, it's about friendships, it's about partying, it's about, having a good time. But say I have three cards. One of them is the Three of Cups upside down, Three of Swords, which is a heart with three swords dug into it, and then there's the Seven of Swords, which is someone holding seven swords, and some of them are dropped down, and he's sneaking away. The Three of Cups is no longer a friendship or being a celebration or, having fun. Now it's about a third party situation, which involves cheating. Why? Because not only is there someone that's not reliable because it's upside down, you also have the Three of Swords, which involves heartbreak, and the Seven of Swords, which involves deception and someone going behind your back. It's all about the cards that are around it. When I did the reading on the person that had the Death card and the King of Wands upside down, to me, my brain instantly thinks of this person passed away. Because if it was upright, it could involve having problems, probably like some kind of emotional turbulence, things like that. But since it's upside down, it's like, whoa, this person isn't in a good spot whatsoever. Death card there, and it's like, whoa, this person's not here anymore, kind of thing. Because not only is it just one card, again, you have to look at the rest of them. What else is there? The Fool upside down. Usually when it's upright, leap of faith, like you're starting new things, and like you have this drive, but if it's upside down, it's someone who's being reckless, someone who's not taking into consideration what they're actually doing, kind of thing. Um, it's like I'd say like every card has that. It has its good meanings and its bad meanings to it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And with this one, this is more up to you if you have the stuff for it. If you don't have it right now, I say, do you want to maybe do a tarot reading live on stream right now, or?
Hmm. Well, yeah, I would, but I don't have any sage at the moment.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's all good. Well,
Yes.
All right. Since there are some people in my chat talking every once in a while, I'll ask: does anyone have any questions for Artemis or anything like
Yeah.
that?
Questions.
Any at all? Any at all? It depends on how long it takes. If they have any, or it depends on how long it takes for someone to
Yeah.
type.
No worries. No worries.
But oh, jeez, it was good learning about this stuff. It's actually interesting. I am interested in this stuff because, like I said, I played Persona and stuff like that, so it's really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, one of my friends said it was really interesting though. He didn't have anything, but he said it was interesting.
Thanks.
But because I remember when you brought the shadows and stuff like that, I would, like immediately went to Persona 4 with like that's one like the main plot points in the game.
Yeah. See, isn't again, it's you wouldn't think spirituality in the real world because it's like, oh, it's just a game. But no, this is legit stuff. It's legit. Your shadow self, it exists. It's not just a thing that's imaginary.
All right, Koala had one. It depends on how
Yes,
you feel.
koala.
What
Yes, koala.
do your parents like think of like you doing all this stuff?
Oof. Good question, koala. Good question because I have a story for that koala. So, um, my parents, uh, they would hear me watching videos about tarot card readings or, you know, the signs and stuff.
You didn't
They
have
don't know
headphones in for
English.
that.
Yeah, it's like they don't have, because they don't know English. However, they know like, oh, Leo. They know, oh, Cancer, Pisces. They know, in Spanish it's Cáncer, Pisces, and like Leo, and it's like they're very similar. So they caught on to that, and I was watching a video once, and I was in the car, and my mom was like, hey, are you watching like zodiac sign stuff? I was like, yeah, and she's like, why are you watching that? I was like, oh, just cause, and she's like, mm-hmm. They started catching on
Oh,
because um I had my tarot cards delivered to my house, and my parents, they're very nosy people, so they opened the box, they saw my cards there, and I looked at my Amazon and said, oh, they're delivered, but I'm like, they're not here though, and I asked, hey mom, did like a box come in or something? She's like, no. I was like, but it said it was delivered. She's like, I don't know. And I look around, and I noticed that the package that it was in was on the table, and I'm like, "Where's the box, Mom? I know you're lying to me. Where is it?" She says, "This." And she's like, "Is this what you're looking for?" And she sees, and then I see the box, and it has my cards in there. And I'm like, "Damn it!" I was like, "Fuck, damn it!" And then I was like, She's like, "What is this, huh?" I was like, they're just cards." I was like, a friend gave them to me. They're like, "Sure." I was like, "Can I have it?" Because she was holding on to them. She's like, "No, I'm gonna wait till your dad comes home." My dad, knowing that he's very religious and very Catholic, he comes home, and I'm like, "God, he's gonna get me to talk." Fuck. And then my dad comes in, and then he just stares at me. He's like, "Maria, what's going on here?" I'm like, "Nothing, Dad." I was like, "These are just cards. They look pretty, okay? A friend gave them to me." And then he looks at it and he's like, "Does this say tarot?" But in Spanish, he's like, "Yeah." And then my mom's like, she's like, "Hi." She's like, because my dad's name is Enrique. She's like, "Hi, Enrique." But in Spanish, she's like, she's looking at. It's just like those things that we see on TV, the ones that talk about tarot card readings and stuff. And And then my dad's like, he looks at me, he's like, you know what these mean, right? I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, but I'm not doing that stuff. And he's like, Maria, you're a smart woman, and you know what you're doing. He's like, this is a house of God, and you know that this stuff is not welcome here. And then my mom was like, you should throw them in the trash. I don't want them near the house or whatever. And I was like, God, I was like, but I spent like $40 on this.
He said
What?
$40.
$40 on 2 decks that I bought. And the thing is, it was more sketchy because the sage was in that same package. So she's thinking I'm doing witchcraft or something, but in reality, I'm not. I'm just buying cards so I could do readings. And then she's like, and what about this, huh? What's this? And it was the sage. I was like, Mom, that helps you relax. It's like, it helps you with anxiety. She's like, sure it is. And why does it say witch? And because she knows what witch means, it's bruja, which it's like, and it's bad. And I'm like, no, Mom, I'm not doing that stuff. Stop. And then my dad, he's like, Maria, do what you want with these, but I don't want them in the house. He's like, you better not be doing that stuff. He's like, you know what happens when you use these things. You don't know what you're letting in. You don't know what, you could get yourself in trouble, that kind of stuff. And I was like, I know, Dad, I'm not doing that stuff. I'm just gonna, just keeping them for aesthetics. A friend gave them to me. He said I would like these cards. He's like, and then he hands them to me. And then, I've just kept them in my room since, like hiding them, putting them in like a pillowcase, just having them hidden somewhere in my room. But I'm pretty sure they know I'm into that stuff. But it's they're very against it. They don't like it whatsoever.
Just
so, yeah.
Give me a moment. I'm happy you're not. If you're looking at the chat, you would hear his voice. It's like spaghetti talking right now.
Oh, it's Jake talking? What does he say?
He said $40. I can hear his voice. Jesus. Yeah. Golly, you bring the wrath of God down to your house.
Oh man.
You're hiding them like weed. Yeah, he's right. That's what you're doing.
Yep, you're right, Jake. I mean, yeah, you're right.
Too late now. Oh, I'm also, yes, I made you a mod. Don't let that power go to your head, sir. Oh, geez, that's... anyone have any other questions? You got any questions? Spaghetti? I know you got some. I know something's running up in that head of yours, man. Oh, jeez. God, like... Oh, man, my mom's the same way, man, so it's all good.
Yeah, it's just... And here's the thing, that's the reason why I don't usually open up about stuff like this, because I get shut down fast. Or they think wrong of me. And it's like, no, it's not, I'm not using it for anything bad. I mostly want to use it to help people. I want it for me to be able to show you parts of yourself that you usually don't like talking about, and tell you, hey, if you do work on this, you're gonna feel better about yourself. You're gonna start seeing things that you never would have thought about seeing. Have faith, basically. I like showing people you need to have faith. It's not just about money. It's not just about the materialistic things of life. There's more to it. Yeah.
Spaghetti did have a question. Like, he was asking, do your parents like clean your room and stuff, or they never enter?
Who asked that?
Spaghetti.
Yes, my mom. She always cleans There was one time where I left my cards out somewhere, and I was like, all right, Mom, I'm gonna go to my friend's house, or I'm gonna go hang out with her. She's like, okay. I leave for 2 hours. I come back. My room is clean AF. And I look around for my crystals, for my tarot cards, and they're gone. And I'm like, Mom, my mom. I was like, Mom? She's like, what? It's like, did you clean my room? She's like, yes. Why? I was like, why'd you clean my room? She's like, because it was a mess. I was like, yeah, but it's my mess. I was gonna clean it. And she's like, I was like, where are my crystals? Where's my cards? She's like, you don't need those things. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I spent money on them. What do you mean? And she's like, no, wait until your dad comes home. And it's like, here we go again. Here we go again with my dad. Ugh.
Old were you during both those times? Like,
22!
oh my gosh!
This is last year. This is all last year. I didn't get into tarot cards until last year. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alright, Ultralight had one for you.
Yes, yes.
Have you done a tarot card reading on your parents, by any chance?
Oof, no. See, that's one of the things. I would say that there's rules. There's rules to tarot cards. One of them does have to be about consent, not just consent, but when it comes to your parents, I personally feel like that's their privacy. Yes, it has crossed my mind of doing a reading on them, like, oh, did my dad ever cheat on my mom? Did my mom ever cheat on my dad? It's like, it would destroy. Knowledge is powerful, but it can also be very chaotic, and it can ruin so many things. I guess you could say ignorance is bliss, but it's your parents. You need to respect what they have, and the fact that yes, I've my cousin, she even told me, oh, did you know your mom and my mom got a tarot card reading together? I was like, what? She's like, yeah, your mom and my mom, they went to a lady, and they got her their cards read. And I came up to my mom and I said, hey mom, is it true that you got a card reading done? She's like, well, who told you that? I was like, oh, I was just asking. Jasmine said that that you guys got a reading done with my aunt. She's like, yeah, but that was a long time ago. I was like, well, what was it about? She's like, I don't know, I don't remember. Thing is, here's where it gets weird. The reason my mom got a reading done was because my dad was acting really strange. It was before he became like very Catholic, very religious. He was listening to this radio, and they talked about God and things like that, but also it wasn't the way you'd think they would talk about God. And my dad was acting really weird. He started talking about like really strange things, and my mom was very worried about him. And I remember I was very young, like 10 or so, and my mom would say like, oh, something's wrong with your dad, I don't know what's going on with him. And she's like, and they brought people over like from their church, and my mom was like, oh, your dad needs to, I feel like something's inside your dad, or like, I don't know, just like really weird. And I remember my dad laughing once because they were arguing, and he was laughing and kind of like in a very weird way. He was like, haha, Maria, can you believe your mother thinks like there's something possessing me? And the thing is, that wasn't my dad. that didn't sound like my dad. And it was really strange for me to even see him in that way. And I was scared of him when he was doing that. And like, they had my dad there and they were praying for him and things like that. And when I bring it up again to my dad says, what are you talking about? He doesn't remember that. He didn't think of himself as going crazy. He doesn't remember that kind of period. So it's like, that's weird. That's really strange. So yeah.
That's
I don't know. Yeah.
Spaghetti's right. You just continue.
What happened?
Spaghetti's right. You guys just continued after that. It's just acting like nothing happened.
You're exactly. That's the thing. They pretend like nothing happened. But I remember it like if it was yesterday. That him laughing and saying those words, they're stuck in my head. Like they're there, and it's I I even dream about it at times. When I was younger, I would dream about that moment. It's like, why is it that from that moment up until now, he's very religious, very strict in his beliefs, when before it was very out of place, very whack, just like strange. And I asked him, I was like, what do you think about like tarot card readings? What do you think about all this? You're not, it says in the Bible that you're not meant to use divination to know about the future or to know about these things. It's not, it's bad, it's a sin and all these other things. But it's like, in the Bible, it says that they use the North Star. They've used stars as directions, yes. But, like, how, I've also, like, talked about it with other people. It's like, my parents say that you're not, using tarot cards is bad and whatever. And they tell me how in the Bible they've had the prophets used as God used his prophets to tell other people what was going on. It's like, isn't that divination? Isn't that asking help from a higher being to enlighten you and to tell other people what might happen? Isn't that the same thing? People just use tools to communicate through other beings to give you a message. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, that's still weird.
Yeah.
It's still very like, no, I wouldn't know how to deal with that. It's just, I wouldn't be able to look back at that and be like, Dad, that was weird. That would just be like, that would be in my mind forever. I'm like,
how do you explain that? You can't. There's no logic to it. There's no proof. I could just be making this shit up and you guys fucking eat it up, but at the same time, why would I make something up like this just for entertainment purposes? No. This is legit what happened. Like, seeing is believing, yes, and that's what happened to me. Other people might not believe it, but again, the whole point, the whole thing of there is another world that we can't see going on behind the quote-unquote curtain of reality. So, it's just something to think about.
Alright. Well, I think that's really it when it comes to... I'm not gonna have anyone else ask any other questions, but, well, it's time for the closing statements. I was gonna say, you have anything that you didn't get to talk about that you feel is important?
No, I think that was good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever done this stuff.
Oh, maybe we might do one later. Maybe. Oh, we talked about serial killers and, like, freaking paranormal. Maybe we'll do one of those. Yes. If people want that. I don't know. Fuck, I don't care what people want. I'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
Like how I might just do the Homestuck one. Who knows? Maybe.
There you go.
Well, thank you again, Aris, for coming on and stuff. Do you have anything? Well, I did, put recommendations of where people could find you, but do you want to still, say that yourself, or...
No, I'll remain a mystery. Just kidding, cringe. But, no, that's good. No, just whatever you posted, it's fine. That's good.
Okay. Well, I'm going to end the stream here. I hope everyone here learned something new and interesting. I will be uploading this later on to my YouTube and stuff. He's right. Leave it to Maria to do cringe.
Gotta put it in somewhere.
But, alright. Thank you all again for coming. And thank you again, Maria, for coming on.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
I'll see you all next time. Bye.
Good night.